Hi, hello and welcome back to F1 Challenge VB. My name is Mephisto and our epic journey through the history of Formula 1 continues today with the 4th round of the 1957 season, the French Grand Prix. It was held on the 7th of July, it had 15 entries, all of them taking part in the race, but 8 of them didn't make it past the finish line. The race consisted of 77 laps, completed in 3 hours, 7 minutes and 46 seconds. Fangio started the race from first with Berra in second, Musso third, Schell fourth and Peter Collins started from 5th. Fangio won the race from Luigi Musso, who finished second, 50.8 seconds behind. Collins came home in third, he was 2 minutes 6 seconds down. Hawthorne finished in 4th, he was 1 lap down, and Harry Schell crossed the line in 5th, he was 7 laps behind the leader. The fastest lap of the race was posted by Luigi Musso, he completed it in 2 minutes 22.4 seconds. So we're back in France, and this year's French Grand Prix is held at Rouen instead of Reims. And the lap around here starts with a long run down into turn 1, a fast open right-hander, followed by a similarly fast and open left-hander. This is followed by a slightly tighter right-hander, then a left-hander. Start braking before you reach the apex of the left-hander, as this is followed immediately by a very tight right-hand hairpin. And you are going downhill at this point, so you want to give yourself as much time to slow down as possible. Next is a medium-speed left-hander, followed by a tight left-hand turn. We continue to go uphill through this shallow right-hander, and this is where the old track used to break off to the right there. Now however we continue on through this very fast right-hander that brings us onto the longest straight on the track. We then come into this tight right-hander, brake hard between the 150 meter boards and ease the car into the corner. We then come through a fast right-hander that brings us back onto the main straight, and that is a lap around the Rouen-les-Essarts circuit. I don't speak French. And here we are in qualifying for the French Grand Prix, coming around to post our first lap of the race, of the session, a 2:22.416, not the fastest, but hopefully we can improve on this. I dearly like to, and well, I lost control of the car coming into the hairpin, and for some reason the car got stuck here. And yes, I know I could have just pressed escape and restarted the session, but I didn't felt like it, so that's the end of qualifying for us. Unfortunately, we were 11 seconds slower than Roy Salvadori's pole time, so that's bad. Anyway, this is the first attempt to starting this race. This is coming into the final corner of the first lap. I lost control of the car, and once again my car kind of gets stuck for some reason. I have no idea what's happening. I even stalled the car, but well, in this race it seems that my engine automatically restarts. The car after that felt very strange. I didn't know what happened. As you can see here, coming through the final corner, I kind of lose control of it, and here I take a look at a replay, and it's well clear now what happened. My suspension got completely messed up. I have no idea how, because I got stuck on the geometry. This is the second restart attempt to start the race. I broke really hard to try and avoid to hit cars, although cars backed into me and then got hit by another car. And well, again I get stuck on something, and I started to get increasingly frustrated at this point because, well, why was the car getting stuck? And this is the third attempt to try and record this, and well, the Ferrari backed straight into me after losing control of the car, so I lost my front left wheel, and that was really annoying. But I finally got to start the race, and anyway, here we are. Welcome to France. Beautiful day here today. Hopefully the weather will stay as it is. That would be quite amazing. But here are the previous French Grand Prix winners. And we have won the French Grand Prix. In fact, it was in 1952, which means we actually won here in Rouen. Anyway, we have Fangio on pole, Sterling Moss in second, Tony Brooks third, fourth is Luigi Musso with Mike Hawthorne rounding off the top 5. Maston Gregory is 6th, followed by Roy Salvadori in 7th, Harry Schell is 8th, 9th is Bob Gerard, 10th is Stuart Lewis Evans, followed by Wolfgang von Trips in 11th, 12th is Peter Collins, Maurice Trintignant is 13th, Jean Berra 14th, 15th is held by Jack Brabham, followed by Jose Froilán González in 16th. 17th is Alfonso de Portago, obviously we don't really count him. Joe Bonnier is 18th, Carlos Menditegui 19th, and Andy Higgs down in 20th. So that is the grid lineup. Quite an interesting little lineup. Obviously we are at the back because, well, we didn't do very well in qualifying, and we are off. A very slow start on my end, but I was fighting wheel spin. It took me a long time until I managed to control the wheel spin, and that allowed Carlos Menditegui to put a 1 second lead on us immediately. But as we now come into turn 1, people lost control of their cars, so we move up into 19th, and I'm now driving very slowly because, well, there's a yellow flag and I don't want to crash into anyone, because that would be absolutely that would have been very awful if I would have had to restart the race again. I was quite frustrated at this point, and I did actually tell myself that if I had to restart again, I would just leave it there and screw it. Anyway, here is a replay of the start. Again, very slow start on my part because I was fighting wheel spin. Interestingly enough, there was no smoke coming off my wheels, but oh well. And here we are coming into turn 1. We see there the number 20 Maserati, kind of not knowing where to go, trying to drive into the Armco, but that didn't really work. As we now come around to start lap 2, we just overtook Juan Manuel Fangio, and we're chasing after Peter Collins at the moment, who is more than 5 seconds up the road, so he put a pretty good gap. And we now have a look at a replay of Jose Froilán González, who loses control of his Ferrari coming through the turn 1, and well, we see the aftermath, and this is now Juan Manuel Fangio. He crashed almost immediately after I overtook him, so he is out of the race. As we now come into this tight right hand, if I could talk today, tight right hand hairpin, and we see a bunch of cars kind of struggling to control their cars. So we now move up into 16th as we start lap 3. Well, we are about halfway through lap 3, chasing after Peter Collins. He's 5 seconds up the road. Actually, he lost control of his car. Yes, he is sideways, and we take 15th. So we are now chasing after Mike Hawthorne as we have a look at a replay of Carlos Menditegui, who loses control of his car coming into the tight right-hander towards the end of the lap. Goes straight, crashes into the fence, loses his front left, and he is out of the French Grand Prix. As we now move on to lap 4, still chasing after Maston Gregory. He's almost 10 seconds up the road, and we have another replay of Luigi Musso this time, who loses control of his Ferrari coming into this left-hander, and he's now upside down. Next we have Peter Collins coming into the same corner, loses control, flips upside down. Interestingly enough, he doesn't actually retire. He will stay there until the end of the race. As we now move on to lap 11th, and Mike Hawthorne looks like he's out, and here is a replay of Mike Hawthorne coming through this left-hander. That's Jack Brabham beside him. Jack Brabham, however, is lucky enough and gets back onto his wheels whilst Hawthorne retires, and we move on to lap 16, and we see a couple of cars lapping us, as we now have another replay of, this time, of Maston Gregory losing control of his Ferrari, crashing into the wall, losing his front right, and he is out of the French Grand Prix as well. As we now move on to lap 18, and Joe Bonnier is out this time. So we should move up into 11th soon enough, once we pass his point where he crashed. And here is Joe Bonnier coming into the penultimate corner, loses his brakes coming into there, so quite a scary situation for him. It should be very, very annoying to do when that happens. And now we are on lap 24, and somehow we are running low on fuel, although I had 45 laps worth of fuel put into the car. I don't know why we are running out of fuel now, as we now take a look at a replay of Tony Brooks, who also runs out of fuel, speaking of which. And we now move on to the final lap, well, at least for us, as Sterling Moss wins the race, and it looks like Jean Berra has retired as well on this lap for some reason. And yes, here he is coming into the pits on his final lap and decides that he had more than enough of this race for some reason, as we now come around to finish lap 25, and well, we finish in 9th. Not the best finish, but could have been worse. And here we have the race results. We have Moss in first, Evans in second, who also posts the fastest lap. Bob Gerard is third, fourth is Salvadori, and the last point scorer is Australian Jack Brabham. And here are the retirements. Quite a few people have retired, but about half the field, give or take. Well, that was actually, that was a pretty interesting outcome. I didn't expect it. I was quite genuinely struggling to keep up to the rest of the field, as we see Peter Collins there at the side of the road. I'm quite genuinely impressed, more impressed than at the Indianapolis 500. I would categorize this as a good race, good outcome. I never thought I would say this, but I'm quite happy that the AI is putting up a fight. I'm quite happy that I'm not in the lead race after race after race. That was starting to be quite annoying and, well, frankly, stupid. However good you are, you wouldn't be winning race after race like that. But anyway, here are the career statistics, and this was Andy's 61st Grand Prix. His best start is from first, has 3 pole positions, has set 12 fastest laps. His best finishes in first, has completed 43 races, 37 of them in the points, has won 22 Grand Prix, 4 of them at the Indianapolis 500, 3 in Monaco, has 5 championships under his belt, has scored a total of 247 points, has retired 18 times, has experienced 1,455 out of 1,763 laps, has 5 bronze trophies, 5 silver trophies, 22 gold trophies, and as an extension, 22 podiums. And here is a quick look at the championship standings. Roy Salvadori extends his lead, Higgs is still in second, Moss is in third, moving very close to Higgs now. Lewis Evans is in 4th and Jack Brabham in 5th. And everyone has scored points all the way down to 8th place, which is held by Jean Berra. And at the very, very bottom we have Mike Hawthorne. So, yeah, quite a good result here in France. I genuinely didn't expect the AI to amaze me like this, really. Considering how the past few seasons went, it's quite interesting. Yes, we had a couple of races here and there when the AI, well, there were more than just 2 or 3 AI that finished the race, but generally it was me in the lead, and again, it started to become a bit old. It's nice to win, but when you win constantly, it's kind of it kind of has the opposite effect of what it should have. It was really starting to become tiresome to say the same things over and over again. But it seems that the AI has gotten slightly better, and I probably now jinxed it, and the AI will start doing stupid things again. But anyway, that is it for the French Grand Prix. Our next race is the British Grand Prix. We return to Aintree this time. That should be interesting. I kind of like that track, surprisingly enough. But yeah, that is it for this video. Don't forget to vote for next season's team, link is in the description. I also have a second channel where I will be playing all sorts of different games. At the moment I'm doing a playthrough of the original Need for Speed Underground, so if you're interested, there is a link in the description to that as well. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, thank you all so much for watching, and as always, stay hey sharp. What did I think?